It was all pretty chill.
Yeah, pretty low-key session.
Low key, nothing bad happened. Everybody was happy and happy with each other.
Yeah, it was. It all went well. Is that the summary we're going with, McDohl, or did you?
Nah.
Did you have a different view of events?
I'm actually kind of pleased that we held an intervention for
So is that what you would call it?
for Evie.
had-
Yeah.
we had a
That's how we're
success.
characterizing that. All right.
That's
It was
an
an
interesting
intervention.
interpretation. I would call it sedition, but that's just me.
Little light mutiny.
I mean,
It's a small chance you may have committed some light treason.
listen.
Treason
The
never
question
hurt
is, but the question is she going to prosecute Edmont for it?
I guess we'll find out.
Ah, okay. So that's how it's going to be, huh?
I think that this is the highest chance of straight up just there's party strife and then there's party violence. And I think this is the highest the closest that I've ever seen this table come to just both like a line being drawn in the sand and then blows happening. And it would be a very
Riot.
No, I wasn't here for Riot. That's what I said. It's the closest thing I've seen.
Riot was just she did things and then didn't even ask for forgiveness afterward.
Riot was a literal anarchist. I shall remind you. I don't think any of the mild sedition that went on last session had to do with anarchy, though. Although one of you is chaotic neutral, so. Oh no, I just resized my window by accident. Oh, I've broken the stream. Okay, I think I fixed it. Why do they let you resize the window like that? Ugh. Anyway.
But,
Sorry, nothing's broken. It's fine now.
That would be a very interesting thing to happen because whether or not Eugenie agreed with her sister, she would side with her 10 out of 10 times.
So is that how it would fall? Like Evie and Genie on one side and the others on the other side?
Well, it depends on where Orson falls and where he would. But yeah, I don't
Orson
know.
the linchpin here in this situation? Is Orson the one who?
Oh, I would
with
contrive some reason for Orson to not be the deciding vote. That's not my job.
Not the deciding vote. I'm talking about if it comes to violence.
Oh, we're not.
Here's the thing: is that whoever has Orson, I think whoever has Orson wins because Sentinel plus Polearm Master. Come on now.
Sorry, are we all immune to fire now?
Yeah, I think all of you could take Orson in a one-on-one fight. Victor has 60-foot range knives that he might be able to one-shot Orson with a good roll. Genie and Ekon just blast away with magic.
Evie is not that good in 1v1s. All of her abilities require her to be with her friends.
Right, and Orson's a friend, so you just command him to stab himself.
Edmont teleports behind Evie. Nothing personnel, kid. And
Next step.
next stab.
So just twist the neck.
I mean, that was a hopeful "are we all immune to fire now?" because that would make my job much easier.
No,
You should,
I don't think Grickrod would ever allow that.
The blaster dream. Oh, I can drop fireballs as much as I want now.
Just
What Ekon needs to do is he needs to take training in Wizard and Evoker and get that feature that lets you shape spells.
I thought that was a sorcerer thing.
there's a meta magic feat that allows you to pick based on your charisma modifier, the number. It might just be spellcasting modifier. a number of people who automatically succeed the saving throw, but of evocation has it where like you can pick a number of people, they succeed on the saving throw and do not take, and if they would take half damage, they take no damage.
One of those just removes 5-foot squares from the spell, and one of them gives like advantage on the save.
No, you automatically succeed.
Okay.
I think Sorcerer is the class that I know the least about. It might be the only class that I haven't personally played in this edition.
I've only seen one sorcerer in this whole table since we started playing, and that was Eldov. And he was like a real blaster mage, kind of a...
I had an NPC that was Reese was a sorcerer. And she turned herself into a sheep and immediately wrote herself out of the adventure. But
every version of this game does something different with Sorcerer, so I would say it's like the least consistent. You can't think, oh, what is a Sorcerer, and have an immediate answer for exactly what it is.
Yeah, sorcerers are neat. The big problem with sorcerers is they just don't. They have to be hyper specialized in their spell choice. They have to, because they get I think less spells than bards do. Like on an even level.
My
Sorcerer's
favorite
for the guy
arcane
who just wants
caster is the
fireballs.
Warlock. I am a big fan of the Warlock in 5th edition. Probably my favorite class.
Rolling, my house was starting up a Saturday game, and I'll be playing a Warlock over there, too.
Do you know what kind of Warlock?
I'm going with the Genie Pact Warlock.
Nice.
You gonna get a talisman this time?
I might.
So, okay.
So is this packed with Genie?
Okay, so
this
is...
He would give you some great perks, I'm sure.
So, I want to take, like... I understand why Warlock is a charisma-based caster, right? But in the flavor of the description of the class, they sound like an intelligence-based caster, and that will always bother me.
I don't know. I think charisma is appropriate.
I think you can make an argument for either or, because charisma, you're haggling with a power for power.
Mm-hmm.
Intelligence, you're looking for, your goal is knowledge, you know?
Well, that's not true of all warlocks, though. Some warlocks probably prioritize knowledge, but others just, like, the Squelcher Lord didn't. He didn't give a shit about knowledge. He was granted power from his devil friend, and then thought that just made him the hot shit.
How'd that go for him?
It didn't, but you definitely can't accuse him of being an intelligence caster.
So one of the things that 3E actually did really well that I'm sad never really survived after that edition was it did a very good job of making charisma and wisdom both ability scores that to some degree intrinsically represented willpower in different ways. And I kind of wish that they had done a little bit more work to codify that more directly or keep it around in fourth and fifth, because charisma was your willpower over the outer world and your self-perception, and wisdom was your willpower over yourself and perception of the outer world. And that worked really well for keeping the caster splits conceptually reasonable.
If you read personality. A lot of 5th edition material, like when they call for wisdom saves versus charisma saves, you can kind of see where that distinction is still in the game, but they never, like, codify it anywhere.
I mean, to be fair, 3rd edition, the best way they codified it was what happens when your ability scores drop to 0. A creature with a wisdom score of 0 cannot perceive the difference between itself and the rest of the world. It loses all self-identity.
Does 5th edition ever do that anywhere?
I don't think so.
Oh.
What happens if your charisma goes to 0? Do you remember?
What was? Let me find.
Charisma, you lose all your
ability to influence the outside world, I believe.
And Constitution 0 is just you're dead.
Yeah,
right?
you're fucking dead.
Your body has failed.
Strength 0, you don't have the strength to move, and Dex 0, you don't have the coordination to do anything.
In 2nd edition, we once rolled up a theoretical character that had a 1 in all of his ability scores, and just tried to model like how that character would work. So like
you rolled up Mr. Magoo.
We determined that this character could bench press a longbow. the highest feat of strength he's capable of, and then he needs a nap.
It doesn't sound like a character like that would be able to do a whole lot.
Well, in 2nd edition, one of the substats for strength was your maximum press. This is how much you can lift with great exertion, and if your strength is 1, it happens to be the same weight as a longbow.
You need to sit down.
Then you're probably already sitting down at that. Like, you don't have the dexterity to be up and moving around.
So you just made a toddler, right?
I think toddlers have better stat blocks than that. Alright. So you all have made a tenuous... Is it fair to say tenuous is the right word for your alliance with the Duke?
I think that's up to him. I think it's whatever terms he wants at this point.
Well, you agreed to
that we have
terms
much-
last session. You shook on it, and...
We did.
Don't tell him that.
I don't know that it matters.
Listen, Burkroad quickly loses control of Rowan Darkwood if he's introduced to any situation, I've found.
There's a tightrope walk you do when you're running D&D, and I know a lot of you guys have run your own games or are running your own games, so you're aware of this. Like, when you have an NPC in a scene who's an important NPC in the campaign, like, how much should you let that character control what's going on? Because ideally you want the players to always be controlling what's going on in a given scene, right? And the NPCs are just kind of there as part of the story. So I'm always aware of that with all the NPCs I make, but with Darkwood it's like, nope, that's all gotta go out the window. Darkwood is going to try to control every scene he's in, no matter what.
As far as Darkwood concerns, he is the protagonist of everyone's story.
Darkwood is the player and y'all are the NPCs.
Description I've heard of Rowan Darkwood is that he is basically a power gamer fantasy. He is the character who made it to level 40 and now he thinks he can do anything he wants.
And as far as my understanding of the lore of all written Dungeons & Dragons material going back 30 years, I think Darkwood gets as close to he just does what he wants as anybody could ever realistically get. Because he comes within, like, a breath of taking control of Sigil. Like, Raceland becomes a demigod, and then that's whatever. A demigod, like, who even cares? Like, you can't even enter Sigil if you're a demigod.
And that was an alternate timeline. It wasn't even the main timeline.
Well, let's not get into timelines, because that, like, Darkwood also needs that technicality.
Braceland brought in time travel. It was his fault.
Yeah. Although my favorite D&D NPC, Factal Reese, is the... Like, she wins over Darkwood, because she's the only Factal that doesn't get mazed. She's still in command after the whole thing goes down. Like, she's the only NPC that actually gets everything that she wants. Self-insert OC, do not steal.
Yeah.
The good news is, Darkwood will not be featuring in this session because he's off building whatever he's building.
He's off being
Building his
mountain man.
he's building a long haul, as I recall, and Edmont would leave an open invitation for him to come over for, I don't know, drinks or whatever.
Wait, I think we established he's out there playing Minecraft.
He's punching trees.
He's punching. Yeah, he's punching trees, building stone tools, using that to.
So yeah, you all assisted him and defended him in his task of carrying this Yule log back to his hearth that he built. He got into a good place with his god Heimdall. And then you guys came home and, like, some new guys showed up.
Yeah, two investigators, as it were.
Yep.
Their names escape me because I did not write them down because I'm a bad player.
Alanic Ray and Arthur Sedgwick.
Alanic Ray and Arthur Sedgwick, you say.
Ray is in a wheelchair and doesn't talk very much. Sedgwick talks way too much and has shown you schematics that he believes are the same mirror device that you have hidden here in the manor. And so far you guys have put them up in the manor while you do some investigation, and that's where we are opening this week.
And we're also waiting on the arrival of Van Richten.
Correct. He's supposed to arrive by the end of spring.
Which is about how far away?
Probably a few weeks.
A few weeks? Okay, all right. So I think
Alanic Ray and Arthur Sedgwick?
Arthur Sedgwick, yes. These are characters directly out of the book, but I have rewritten their personalities because as much as I love Holmes and Watson, I don't just want to run Holmes and Watson as NPCs in my game.
Valid.
But the problem with running Holmes and Watsons these days is like everybody has like landed on Holmes as an insufferable douche.
Well, I mean,
like
wrong.
with no redeeming qualities.
Not just that, but I mean, nobody else can Mac Benedict Cumberland's acting abilities, so.
And they've kind of landed on Watson as like a cartoon sidekick.
Yeah.
When he's supposed to be like a smooth lady killing operator.
Yeah, like he's a doctor.
Look, I lost any respect for all of the modern retellings as soon as they made Watson a veteran of Afghanistan instead of Afghanistan.
Wow, that's really good.
I know exactly what he means, and it's very
no,
depressing.
that's really good.
I feel like you've had that one in your pocket for a minute. Like,
I've
waiting for the
down for a while.
It's like I don't know when I'll get to use this.
It landed appropriately. Good job.
I have not seen the Benedict Cumberbatch series, but that's how he's played.
So the information you were given by Sedgwick was you have this dangerous arcane device in your manor somewhere. Mm-hmm. If it currently has something dangerous trapped inside of it, but it could be released if you were to switch who is trapped, like pick somebody else to swap the places with them. I don't believe you told Ray or Sedgwick that the mirrors you have are cracked.
I thought we did.
Did you?
But
I thought we showed the mirrors.
We haven't shown them the mirrors yet.
Yeah, they said they wanted to get settled in first, and I thought I don't think anybody directly mentioned that they were damaged. I think it was just like mentioned as a part of out of character conversation.
Yeah, my understanding was we had discussed the schematic a little bit. You confirmed to them that you have this thing on site, and that they were going to get settled. But as far as I know, they don't know that the mirrors that you have are cracked and damaged. The ones in the schematic are not.
Once they've had a couple of hours to like bathe and wash the road off of them, Edmont could go and see how they're doing at the very least.
Just getting settled in, taking their evening meal.
Okay. And I figured we would invite them to dine with us for the evening.
You can.
At the very least. Yeah. And then that's probably where the subject would come up, would be the state of the thing. I would imagine.
Yeah, they graciously accept your invitation to dine in your hall.
And yeah, we'll discuss what I would say Edmont would discuss what we found when we got here, and it would probably just come up kind of offhandedly that one of the mirrors was cracked, and we looked over it as best we could. Nothing was moving yet, and so we just decided to box it up until we could deal with it more decisively.
My understanding is that Jeannie looked at it, saw there was something in there, the device was cracked, and if it got whatever was in there got out, it would probably be bad. So we just...
Well, Sedgwick indicates that a crack could be one of two things. One is that the mirror itself, like a standard mundane mirror, would be made out of silvered glass, and impact or trauma to the glass could cause it to crack. No different than if you were to throw a heavy object against one of the windows in this room. The other explanation is that whatever is sealed inside is attempting to escape and has made some headway.
I think, oh, we should probably take a look at it then, because that was almost a year ago when we when any of us last looked at it.
Well, we've been using that room for like storage of like dangerous crap. So
We have.
yeah, Destil and I have been putting stuff in there.
Against better judgment, I think we
So
have.
what all is in there right now?
I forget what else we put in there. Or were we just discussing about putting
I
something?
think
in
I don't think we actually put anything in there. I think
We
we
have
No,
a
I don't
vault
think we did.
down. We have a vault in the basement that can
Yeah.
be magically sealed as well. So there's
we
no
had,
need to
we had
keep.
talked about the possibility, but I don't think we actually ended up putting it.
Yeah, I think keeping dangerous things in there together when something could break out of there would be ill-advised.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fair. So, Brick Road, I have a question. How
Okay.
difficult would it be to manufacture a set of these mirrors?
You would lack the expertise to do so.
I would
This
lack the
is-
expertise.
This is a magical device that is beyond your ability to build.
Okay. That just you just realize that just makes Jeannie want to try even more, but
Genie's like, I'm going to start with my sister and put her in the mirror.
no, she would start with Vic. She would trick Victor into the mirror.
As like a prototype. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Edmont, because werewolves are scary.
She is terrified. She does have a phobia of werewolf Edmont.
Yep.
That'd be a a good thing. Well, of course, if you have to like put somebody in to take somebody out, that necessarily maybe wouldn't be. Okay, no, we got to stop this because now I'm thinking about the logistics of it.
So when are you planning to take Ray and Sedgwick in and show them the mirror?
We can take them as soon as we. As soon as-
Whenever's most convenient for them, whenever they're
Yeah.
ready to take a look at it.
Okay.
So like right after dinner, right after they're situated in the morning, whenever.
So after dinner or in the morning?
If they want to go after dinner, we offer.
Yeah, I think maybe the sooner the better.
Okay.
Yeah, agreed.
So the idea here being like, oh, this is more dangerous than maybe we thought. We like need to get in there right away.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we were thinking this might be a call the doctor in the morning type thing, but now after like we've discussed it, we have realized it's more of an emergency room type thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's a more of a you should probably have been in the doctor 6 months ago, and now you have stage 4 cancer kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. That sounds more closer to what it actually is, yes.
So describe to me what it's like moving from the physical space of your dining room, the dishes being cleared away, to get into this mirror room.
So we have a wall, that has stone shaped over it.
Here, I have an out-of-date map of the manor from last week.
So this is my understanding of like what we have like in place over this wall. The Destil has stone shaped another
And there's a
wall.
glyph of warding.
I'm sorry, what?
There's also a glyph of warding.
He's stone shaped a wall over the door. There's a glyph of warding on the door. The actual door itself is got an arcane lock on it that requires at least 2 of us to open, and there is a physical trap that Jeannie has placed on the inside of the room.
So where in the manor are we? What
Uh,
floor? Is it even on this map?
We're up here in Jeannie's office.
Okay, so here's the mirror room back here. Okay. So you leave the dining hall. You guys come into Jeannie's office. You move this bookcase aside. Behind the bookcase is a solid wall.
Yes.
So you have to remove the glyph of warding, disable this mechanical trap, and then how do you get through the wall?
Stone shape. Is that right, Destil?
I thought we left the door. And I thought you could still use the door.
Oh, you said last time you stone shaped a wall over it.
I just meant I stone shaped like all the creases and whatnot, so that you could gaseous form into it.
Okay. So
Okay.
we have this. So it's like a vault door. Then it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's got a mechanical
Oh,
lock. It's got an
And
arcane
the
lock, and
glyph
it's got a
wording has a
trap.
password, so we don't have to disable it. We just have to tell people who aren't already attuned to it the password.
So there are like 14 layers of defense, because presumably to get this far, anybody would also have to get into the manor, which means getting like inside your walls, and then past your militia, and then across your moat, and then probably deal with all of you guys.
Well, you got to remember, like, this is what we do for a living.
Yeah.
Like, is mess with,
Sometimes
like,
we're not here.
yeah. And you legitimately told Jeannie that, like, whatever's in this mirror scares the crap out of her. So, see her, the shackles and things she did, like, Jeannie's philosophy on stuff like this is over-engineer.
Yep.
Yeah, Edmont is basically like in the middle of this room whenever he's werewolfed out and stuff, shackled up, and he's like he can't reach any one thing on the wall or anything like that.
So inside the room, you have the two mirrors facing each other, and nothing covering them, nothing blocking the plane between them.
Yep.
And you can't tell because again, it's been a year since anybody's, or close to a year. It was last summer was the last time anybody's looked upon these mirrors. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So yeah, none of you can tell by looking at it. There's a party that's like, oh man, that crack is definitely getting bigger. And there's another party that's like, I don't know. It might be the same crack. It's impossible to say.
And I didn't take a sketch of it or anything when we first sealed this room up, so I don't know if
Is the crack on just one mirror or both mirrors?
Just one.
Just one mirror. Well, I guess Jeannie's gonna measure the crack now.
Okay.
So it's like that's information she has.
Okay. And if you'll bear with me one moment. It kind of almost bisects part of the mirror horizontally. So the crack travels from one edge of the mirror down towards the center, and then there's a split where there's like a sharp turn before the crack ends somewhere in the middle. But where the crack turns, you can see some elements of spider webbing.
Yeah, I think the crack has gotten worse, actually. Like, Jeannie's racking her brain, and, like, this description that you're reading sounds like it's worse to me than what I remember. So, like,
the
she's
players
convinced...
it's probably had a cracked windshield at some point in their lives.
Sedgwick asks if you have a rubbing or a sketch of what the crack looked like.
We do not.
Regrettably, no.
So Jeannie and Sedgwick are at the mirror, like taking measurements of it, stretching their tape measures out. What you notice too, Jeannie, is that the crack is very deep. You know the physical limitations of the mirror. You've probably constructed mirrors at some point. And, well, I guess you can tell me, what actually are you doing to measure this crack? Like, are you sticking anything into it? Are you trying to pry part of the glass loose?
No, that seems like a bad idea.
Okay.
No, I'm just measuring the length of the crack and getting a visual of the deepness. Like, but the way you're describing it to me makes it sound like it's deeper than the mirror is thick.
It's difficult to say because the crack is very narrow. But like when you hunker down and stare at it, you can't tell if you're seeing the backing of the mirror, or if you're seeing into some magical space.
Ekon, can you give me some light? Just the brightest light you can make.
Oh, I'm assuming you have bright light in the room already.
No. I want the brightest light Ekon can make.
I'm going to append to that request that won't kill me. just for your edification, I am mentally doing that. I cast daylight.
Okay. Genie's like, wait, hold on. I feel like what you heard was, I want a really bright light. What I said was. So the room lights
Edmont.
up as though with the sun's daylight.
Yep.
And it doesn't make a difference, Genie. You're still looking at this crack, and without actually probing with the crack with some kind of tool, you can't just measure it by eyeball. You could either be looking at just the backing of the mirror, or you could be looking into some liminal space on the other side of the literal looking glass.
There,
Genie.
Victor, do you have some kind of shim in your thieves' tools that could maybe probe down that deep?
I don't think that is a good idea.
I am
I
also
could-
going to.
Right, but that seems like a bad idea.
Well, like we might end up having to do that, Edmont, but like I'm just afraid of making the crack bigger.
Ray is the one who has experience building devices like this. Correct?
Ray builds devices. You don't know whether he's built anything like this or not.
Okay.
Do they have any kind of, like, I'm assuming, like, does Bernadine in the surrounding area, do they have any kind of, they have lenses because of, spyglasses and
Mhm.
things, they're seafaring nations, but do they have, like, the microscopes and things like that?
Probably not. If they did, it would be like a magical artificer tool.
Right. Well, yeah, okay. Well, so if it's like a magical artificer tool, Jeannie's gonna, like, wish she had one out loud, but,
Okay.
like,
You
she
have
doesn't
one.
have...
You have a spy. All of us have one. You're a spell focus.
It's like a magnifying glass. He's asking for like a microscope.
Yeah, I'm, like, asking for a microscope.
Yeah, you can like hunker down with your magnifying glass and read through it. In my quest to avoid admitting to myself that I need reading glasses, I just read most of the Spelljammer books through a magnifying glass. It makes your arm tired after an hour or so. Yeah, you've got the daylight spell, you've got your magnifying glass in hand, and it's just...
So Evie asks, so hypothetically, how powerful would a creature need to be able to break out of this?
Sedgwick scratches his chin, stands up straight. It's difficult to say without knowing the specifications to which the device was constructed, or who constructed it, or why, or where, or for what purpose.
Well,
Maybe some local. If only there was more surviving history of the local area that might give some idea of what it would of what such a thing might have been constructed for. Like maybe one of my tidbits of lore might give us some kind of a clue on that. One of the ones that I researched last week.
Nothing on the mirrors, no.
Okay.
Oh.
Never mind then.
Ray
set-
kind of wheels himself towards the door and shares a brief word with Sedgwick, which some of you overhear. Have ink and parchment sent up to me. And then he wheels himself out of the room using his fascinating mechanical device.
so the place where you
Is he
found...
returning back to his quarters, or is he going?
You don't know. Are you following him?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's returning back up to his quarters. And Sedgwick takes a moment to make a request of one of the house's servants to have ink and parchment sent up there.
Mm-hmm.
So these mirrors are specifically, they're silver glass. They're not mirrors that were made of the copper and tin that are endemic to this region.
Right, copper and tin.
You can make mirrors with that stuff, but not this kind of mirror.
They wouldn't be as reflective. But yeah, you could.
Yeah, but I was just wondering if it would be possible for us to refine materials to repair it, but it doesn't sound like it's the right kind of material.
Well, we could magically repair it with, like, magic, but it would not restore any magical properties lost from this break. Plus, introducing that kind of, magic to it could have unintended side effects. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we have the resources to construct a new mirror, but I don't know that it would be of any use.
Like,
I mean, so that tells me that we want to do is we want to break whatever's out of this mirror out of it, have the new mirror ready, and slap it on in there.
we do not have the I don't have the
Yeah, I
capabilities
don't
of
have
making
the
another,
capabilities for that.
of making a new mirror.
I mean, Ray probably does.
Well, I feel like if we're going to set this thing free, we may want to invite Darkwood to watch just in case things get out of hand.
I don't think that's any of his business.
Depends on how powerful this thing is.
Okay, I also don't think he would give a shit.
Well, he did swear vassal
Lived here.
to us, right?
That's an us problem.
You break him out of the mirror, and it's just like another Darkwood, but like 6 iterations from now.
Oh god, now there's 2 of them.
That would be the most amusing plot twist
I
ever.
mean, they would
It's
become best friends, but then they would kill each other.
just Darkwood again.
He's just all the villains from now on.
Like every sealed villain is just some iteration of Darkwood.
Yeah, like they would like each other, but they would realize that I have to kill this other one, or it's going to be nothing but trouble. You don't leave a clone of yourself running around. That's just bad practice.
And then Marty McFly, and he just Marty McFlies away due to the time paradox. What would happen?
What's Mr. Ray working on when the ink and parchment are delivered?
Are you up in his room?
Yeah.
He's just scratching something out on the parchment.
Mm-hmm.
He's not paying you much attention, but neither does he send you from the room.
Okay. I'll stick around with him in case he needs anything else.
So, we've made clear to Sedgwick that you guys are not comfortable with actually taking tools to the mirror other than just, like, measuring ropes, right?
Right.
Okay.
So we have a better understanding if they can.
Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen. We need more investigation. But I don't know what avenue we could explore without using tools. Except maybe divinations.
Okay. We have access to that.
Yeah.
Evie, will or woe? If we took a probe to this.
Evie scatters her magical silverwood tokens on the tail, spins a dagger, wheel or woe.
What's,
Take it and get to. If I were to authorize my sister to use tools to investigate this mirror.
okay. We're using augury.
Yep.
And
my intention is
my
to
only answers that I'm allowed to give.
Yeah, this is the one where
Deal.
you real specific answers, and I can only ask really specific questions
think
about things that I am
idea-
going to do.
I think wheel and woe is the only third way on this one.
No, I
Yeah.
can. Nothing is a
Oh,
fourth
nothing.
answer. So you just get nothing from augury. Neither good
Yeah.
nor bad.
And she's like, "This has never happened before. It didn't seem like something bad would happen. So I don't think doing that is going to make something jump out of this mirror and kill us."
So if I were to get if we were able to, for me to spend some time collecting some components, I have some prayers to air that might help.
What do you
I
They're
need?
pretty powerful. So I don't have the components yet. Well, let's see here. I would need 4 ivory strips worth 50 gold pieces each, and 250 gold pieces worth of incense. For
That is a fairly steep price.
Legend lore.
That's not.
Yes.
That's like mid range of my 5th level spells that I need to pick up components for.
Was that legend lore?
Yeah, it's legend lore.
Well, with legend lore, you can ask really specific questions. You could ask exactly what's inside this mirror.
Well, no, I just
Well-
name the mirror, and air will tell me about it.
Hmm. Well, let's see if we can't source some ivory then.
Yeah.
So I'll say that the incense you can have at that price, but sourcing ivory I would double the price.
And can I incorporate that into my spell focus so I can just carry it around like all my other focuses?
I'm I would presume the incense is consumed by the spell, but not the
No,
ivory.
I meant the ivory strips. So,
Yeah, that's
like,
fine.
up until now, what I've been doing is I've just been adding the value of all of the non-consumed focuses to my house relic.
So you have like the most ostentatious magnifying glass ever constructed.
I do, actually, because
Yeah.
the components
Eevee's
isn't
is becoming pretty elaborate at this point too.
Um,
She got a lot of new apps on her
I
spell
won't do
focus.
that for scrying. Because scrying requires like a 7-foot tall silver mirror.
Like this mirror?
Guess what we have right here in this room?
Alright, so give me a second. Does anyone care if I take this off the party gold?
No. I love how like we've got like Ekon's is ostentatious and Jeannie turned hers into a gun.
That's
So sourcing this ivory, because you don't have a ready source for it. Let's double the price for the spell.
Yep.
But on a scale of 1 to 10, how much risk are you willing to assume in sourcing this ivory?
like an 8.
An 8, okay. Because you're going to have to put feelers out there. There's not like an ivory merchant 2 towns over. You're going to have to take a couple of days and put the word out that it's what you're looking for.
Yep.
So Sedgwick is instructed basically like, hey, we're gonna take some time and source this material, and then we have a way to magically probe the mirrors and maybe answer some more questions. Is that the idea?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
But if they have other suggestions, we are amenable to listening.
Do you think I have some other spells I can cast? Let me double check the component cost. This is getting really expensive. I do have one other divination spell I can cast without components while we're trying to wait for the ivory to show up.
What
Which
is that?
What?
Immune.
Which
That
one?
where you actually ask God?
Commune.
Commune.
I have a couple questions I would like to ask over a commune. Actually, I've been building.
Like,
I
hey,
do
why did
have
you let our city get destroyed by meteors and then send us to Nightmare Land?
I do have an character question for the party. We have this is kind of long reach, but we have what's Van Richten, Dr. Van Richten coming soon. Is the party okay with Edmont nicking some money to pay him for a personal consultation about his lycanthropy?
I thought Jeannie was already paying him.
I'm paying him. Yeah, he's paying it, the part. You'd have to. We already owe him 450 gold. For
I don't know.
It's the trip. It's the cost of the trip plus the consultation fee. I don't know how much the consultation fee is.
You have about 800 gold left after that first component.
I mean, if a consultation fee is less than 400 gold, we could probably do it.
Plus, Victor apparently has a bunch of gems in his pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dick just got 300 gold worth of gems.
So yeah, I would like to cast a commune that night or resting to recover my spells.
Okay.
There's a Shrine of Air here.
Yep.
You are allowed to ask 3 yes or no questions.
Destil, you are getting a little bit quieter.
So my first question,
Okay, there we go.
Lord Air, were I to use one of the summoning spells you granted me to bring a celestial under your service to this world, would they be bound here forever? And if so, would that be a fate they despise?
That sounds like 2 questions. Was that the intent?
Yeah, I wanted to
Okay.
use 2 questions on that. So that's
yes and
specifically
yes.
summon celestial. Yes and yes.
Yes and yes.
Okay, so those spells are off the table. And then my final question is, Lord Air, if we were to mechanically probe the mirror in our basement to try and determine the extent of the damage, would that risk breaking any of the magical seals?
I already asked that question. Ask something else.
I mean, he's got a more powerful thing, so
I mean, I think I already asked it. We can do
So
this
the
again
question
tomorrow.
is, if I probe the mirror, am I going
Physically.
to break it?
Is it going to break any? If we physically probe the mirror, will we break any of the magical bounds on it?
Air offers you an image in response. The image that you receive is of the lighthouse at Nornir, which stood for centuries as the literal beacon tower and the center of the Etherine faith in the Republic. You probably had no personal knowledge of the magical energies involved in constructing and held within this lighthouse. At best, you may have made a pilgrimage there once. I forget if we had determined that or not.
Probably not.
But the lighthouse was brought down physically in the sack on Nornir about a week before the enemy arrived in Brennanine. And then when they sacked Brennanine, they used meteors. That image is given to you, the fall of the lighthouse at Nornir, in response to your question.
I call that an inauspicious omen.
Yeah, I would say that suggests that we are very capable of messing this thing up if we try and just probe it with a piece of wire or whatever.
Yeah, why don't we let the experts do it? The expert investigators.
I do have, again, we can cast an actual, much more powerful and specific divination if we can get that ivory.
So yeah, go ahead and roll me a d6.
Sure. Six.
Within about a week, you receive word that a wagon train of Vistani are traveling through Darkon and have been made aware of what you're looking to purchase, and they have diverted one of their Vardos to the village. Once this news reaches the village, this would be the first actual visit from the Vistani to Silverbow since you guys have established here.
Mm-hmm.
But Koyana would make preparations to leave with them. However,
she's more than welcome to depart if she wishes.
At Ekon's discretion, well, there's going to be two questions here. At Ekon's discretion, are you going to purchase the ivory from these Vistani?
Yes.
Okay. And she doesn't ask anything of you. She doesn't ask to stay, nor does she ask permission to go. She doesn't need your leave one way or the other. With that said, does anybody prevent Koyana from leaving? Like, does anybody express an interest in her remaining in the village?
Victor will express an interest in her remaining, but if she wants to leave, he's not going to stop her.
What nature of interests? Like, why do you ask her to stay?
He explains that she's a valuable member of the community. Her presence here seemed to like dissuade some of the prejudice and stereotypes against Vistani? Like, are people kind of warming up to her a little bit?
No.
Ew.
What's interesting about the prejudice and stereotypes against Vistani is that Koyana almost completely embodies them. And while any given villager to your face would tell you, like, oh, you can never trust the Vistani, you know, they're wanderers, they're vagabonds, they're thieves. However, they're all using her services, or at least a lot of them. Enough of them are to keep her in coin. It's kind of like how nobody admits to eating McDonald's, but everybody eats McDonald's. The Vistani are McDonald's,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
Evie won't stop her from going, but she does express interest in having a card reading before Koyana leaves.
I mean, Victor just generally tells her that he's appreciated her presence here. He would like for her to stay. He enjoys the fact she's here, but he completely understands that when she came, she said she was going to leave, and if this is her opportunity to leave, then he supports her and wishes her well, although he does wish you today.
Aw, Victor's crush is leaving.
Yeah, Victor likes her.